Marketing Your Private Practice is a podcast where you'll learn easy to implement tips and strategies to grow your business without spending all day online. I'm your host, Colaiacovo, and I teach practitioners the Thrive marketing method to create simple and streamlined plans by focusing on long-term strategies, not just social media. Discover ways to spend less time on your marketing, attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you.
Hey, private practice heroes. Thanks for tuning into the podcast today. I'm your host, Colaiacovo, and my goal, as always, is to help you find simple, effective, and streamlined ways to grow your practice or business without spending hours a day on marketing. Now, let's be clear, though. Marketing is not something I'm saying is optional, but wasting time on marketing, that is definitely optional. Marketing is one of those two important things every CEO for every size business needs to make sure is happening in order to grow your business. But too often I see practice owners spending way more time on marketing than they need to. And the worst part about it is they're not getting the results they're after. That leads to frustration, burnout, even resentment toward marketing, and a lot of resentment sometimes toward the business. It's one of the reasons why people fall out of love with their business because it becomes more work than they ever imagined. People who start private practices and service-based businesses to help others, they don't start it to spend all hours, day and night, working on ways to get more clients that never seem to hit home. So if that sounds like something you're doing, today's episode is for you. And even if you feel that you're okay with the marketing, this topic we're going to talk about today, which is the fourth pillar of marketing, systems, will always give you some ideas on saving time in your day. So I hope you will still tune in. Systems are something every business and practice owner needs if you want to save time and be more effective, no matter what you're doing, but especially with marketing. And especially for you solopreneurs out there, when you're the person wearing all the hats, you are also the person doing the marketing. So before you tune out here that we're going to start talking about systems, I want to let you know something. These are not systems that are like tech tools you have to buy or things you have to subscribe to and that are going to cost you money. The systems we're going to talk about today are free. They help you stay organized, save time, and in a lot of cases, they make your marketing work better, become more effective, and help bring you some of the things you're looking for, like more website traffic, more people signing up and becoming leads, asking for consults, and all of those people are potential clients who could turn into paying customers. And that's why systems matter, because as a solopreneur, as a small business owner, as anyone running a business, whether you're a dietitian, a nutritionist, a therapist, a coach, or other service providers. And honestly, this applies to most businesses out there. You have to be intentional with your time, whether it's your time or an admin person's time or a contractor's time or an employee's time. Every minute you spend in your business should be either making you money or it's going to be taking you money. So we have to make sure you are intentional with your time. And systems save time, period. End of story. I've been in business for 17 years. And back in the day, I ran a team of 14 virtual assistants. About 6 years into my business, that's where I had grown to. I had enough clients that I had a team of 14 people doing different work for me as subcontractors. And we were managing the marketing and website support for probably 35 to 40 clients at any given time. I had to develop systems to keep everything running smoothly with everyone. If somebody left the team, whether they won the lottery, which is my new way of saying you got hit by the bus, or they went off for another reason, something less exciting than winning the lottery, we needed to have a setup where anyone could step in and pick up where they left off. These are the kind of systems that I needed to have in play then, and it's honestly the same kind of systems that a lot of businesses can use. There's systems that don't cost money, but they help you be more organized, more productive, more efficient. Systems reduce chaos, they eliminate guesswork, and in the case of systems for marketing, they help you execute your marketing with more consistency, more purpose. If you don't have systems, that actually is often why so many practice owners struggle with their marketing. It gets to a place where it is overwhelming because there's no clear plan. Time is wasted all over the place, searching for files, recreating what you already made because you couldn't find it, or producing way more content than you need. All of this comes down to not having systems and a plan. And I've heard coaches tell other people, just get online and post 5 times a day on every social media channel out there and you'll start getting clients. I beg to differ. I don't believe that's a strategy for marketing. I kind of think of that as a time-sucking nightmare, to be honest. You'll need a plan and systems to help make that marketing plan more effective. Random acts of marketing lead to random results every time. You'll have fewer leads, you'll have missed opportunities. And a lot of times, some people don't realize how much time they're actually wasting. If you're spending 10 hours a week making videos for Instagram or YouTube and you're not getting clients, you've got to ask yourself, is that an effective use of your time? And beyond time wasted, that's exhausting, to be honest, unless you're a YouTube star or an influencer on Instagram. It can really drain your energy and your motivation. And it can even make you question your abilities as a business owner, as a leader. But the truth is, it's not you. It's your lack of systems that is building up all that frustration. Because when your marketing feels chaotic, it often is chaotic. And the solution to that is getting the structure and predictability that come with systems. Without it, your time, energy, and money are all wasted. Imagine being that person that has a structured system and a plan for saving, for organizing, for storing and repurposing all of your marketing content, and knowing exactly how much you need every week or every month and where it's going to go and what you're going to do with it and what time of the day even it's going to get posted. Instead of scrambling around to create something new every day or last minute when you remember something important you totally forgot to put into the marketing, you're going to be more focused with your marketing. You're going to know exactly what you need to do, what you need to create, and where you're going to post it and when. And a bonus of all of this is being able to reuse and adapt existing content you created in the past anytime you need to use it. All of this, when you have systems in place, could cut your workload in half when it comes to marketing your practice or your business. So what I want you to do, instead of all those random acts of marketing and time spent wasted looking for this file or this image you knew you had in place, I want you to make sure that you're using the systems that are going to help you be more efficient with your marketing and free up your time. These systems are totally geared to helping you grow because you're going to be able to have more time for those revenue generating activities in your business, and you're going to be spending less time on all of the marketing. With the right systems, it becomes less of a guessing game and more of a predictable process. And the best way to get into this practice of systems is by harnessing what I call assembly line thinking. This is the key to efficiency, if you ask me. One of my superpowers when it comes to being productive and effective with marketing and teaching people how to market their practices or businesses is my approach to marketing in some areas so that it looks like an assembly line. And when you think of assembly lines, I find people tend to think of 2 visuals. One is the assembly line image in your head of the Ford Motor Company, where Henry Ford revolutionized car manufacturing by batching tasks together to streamline the process. He was mass producing cars very efficiently by having certain parts of the cars built in batches and blocks so that people doing the work were as efficient as possible in the whole process. Now, a fun fact for you, it was actually not Henry Ford who created that assembly line setup. I found this out when I was doing some research for this episode. It was actually a gentleman named Ransom Olds. What a cool name, hey? Ransom Olds was the founder of Oldsmobile. He was also another automotive leader. And it was him that actually created the first automotive assembly line, and that was back in 1901. Ford just took it to a whole new level, and he made it possible to build his Model T car in 90 minutes. And that reduced costs so much that several years later, they could actually reduce the price of what it cost to buy a Ford, which allowed more people to buy it, and his business grew. Now, the other assembly line a lot of people think of, I know I do when I think of it, is that famous I Love Lucy TV episode where Lucy and Ethel are trying to keep up at a new job they're at in the chocolate factory. And the chocolates are flying down that assembly line belt, and it is chaos. It is hilarious. But that is not the kind of system we're talking about here. That is not the assembly line we want here. And if you've never seen that video, definitely Google it for a good, clean laugh. All you need to do is Google, I Love Lucy, Ethel, Chocolate Factory. And trust me, you'll get a nice, clean laugh for the morning. What we're looking for is not the chocolate belt scene from I Love Lucy. We're aiming for efficiency here. We want an organized, well-structured system where the tasks flow logically from one step to the next, saving you time and reducing stress, just like the mass production of Henry Ford's cars. You want a well-oiled marketing machine. And when you have that, that's how you can be consistent without feeling like you're stressed and overwhelmed and constantly marketing and, worse, constantly reinventing the wheel. Repetition, systems, and plans are the way that you're going to be more efficient. In this case, you're going to be efficient with your marketing. We're not building a car and we're not making chocolates as much as we might like to. So let's get into the gist of this lesson today. And I'm going to share with you the 5 marketing systems every practice owner needs to save time with your marketing. And this is going to help you free up that time so you can get out there and book more clients. The purpose of these systems are totally to help you streamline your marketing and make everything you're doing more effective. And the first thing you need in place is some sort of content storage and organization system. And like I said, it's not going to cost you money, but you're going to have to plan out what is going to work for you. This system is the one where you're saving and storing your marketing content. So if you're posting on social media, but you're not saving that content anywhere else, in my opinion, you're throwing away very valuable material. You're chucking your brilliance out the door, and it's harder to go back in time and grab it when you might need it. Instead, if you had a system to save and store it, whether it's going to be Google Drive or Dropbox for content that you might create and write in a document, maybe you have spreadsheets that you use to track some stuff, maybe you're using folders in Canva for graphics that you have. And just a side note on that, don't store everything in Canva. I know a lot of people use Canva to schedule content, but if that's the only place you've saved your images and saved your content, there might come a day when you need to reuse that. It's going to take you a heck of a lot longer to go back and try to find it when you don't have it in a place where it's easy to get to. So I always like to create images in Canva. We download them to a specific place in the files and everyone knows where it is. And part of that is System 2. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second here. The idea is you want to make sure that you, as the person using it all, or anyone helping you, whether you have a VA or an admin or team members, you all want to be following the same system for storing and organizing content. You want to make sure everything is easy to find. And the whole purpose of a lot of these systems is for the future. A well-organized storage system makes sure that every piece of content, everything that you've ever written, everything that you've ever created in the way of graphics or images or videos, whatever it might be, can be found easily in the future and repurposed if needed. Your second system, which I kind of hinted at here, is a standardized filing and naming system. So once you know where you're storing the content, you want to make darn sure that you're organizing and storing it consistently and following a standard way of naming the files, the folders, and whatever you're saving in there. So for example, one of the things that we do, and we've done this for years using all of these systems with my bigger team and my smaller team that I have now, we still follow it. So we will always have standardized files that we use for clients and a way of storing things. So that's our number one part. But then we name them and put them in specific places. So for example, we typically have a folder called blogs and newsletters. And within that folder, there are year-dated folders. And within the year dated folders, we save the names of, say, the documents for an article. We will save it with news January 15-25, and then we'll put a keyword kind of description of whatever it might be, like content-planning-tips. And then, depending on what it is for images, we will often use the same kind of name, but we'll add something to it like -IG or -FB if we've made images in different sizes for Facebook or Instagram, what have you. Naming the files properly from the get-go will help you save time in the future too. So this folder we typically have for blogs and newsletters, then by year. Then we have the content in there, so the documents. Then we also have another folder called news images. And so within there, we will save and store the image files for those newsletters. When you have an entire system like this and you have a process and a standardized way of naming things, the other thing it can do is help with SEO in the future. And I know it sounds funny talking about SEO when we're talking about filings and naming and systems. But the thing is, when you download your images from Canva, if you're instantly right then saving them with a keyword-rich name, and it also is fitting into your system so that you can find it on your computer, when you ultimately go to use that on your website, you've now got a keyword-rich file name for the image. So when you upload it, you're actually helping your SEO in that way. And it cuts back on the time you might need in the future when you do want to put it on your website and you notice it doesn't have a keyword-rich name. It's already been done, so you're going to save time there. Again, a lot of this system is about what you might be doing in the future. When you have these systems in place and these standardizations, when you're creating and saving and storing stuff in the first place, when you need to use it later on, you'll know exactly where to go. When I have a time that I might go in, so a lot of times what I'll do for my coaching circle members and my Thrive Marketing Academy members, I'm going to put reminders in our community of our sessions. So I have those. I typically schedule those up. Sometimes I post them live. But with a lot of them, I like to put an inspirational image to go along with the reminder that we have our coaching call the next day or that morning or later that day, whatever it is. I will immediately go to our social media folder where we have a lot of images. They are all saved with a keyword-rich name. I'll type in maybe something like strategy, and it will pull up all of the images in that search I've done on that folder of any image with a file name strategy in it. So I can look at those and pick and choose one that I think fits the inspiration for the moment that I want to add with my reminder. We never intended to use those images in that way, but it became something we did later on. I just thought it adds a little bit to that reminder if I put a nice image there. I know exactly where to find them. I don't have to go ask my VA who created them, maybe 5 months ago, hey, where did you put that image on marketing strategy and tips and what folder is it in? I know exactly where to go. I can search for it by keywords because it got named that way and I can easily use it. So much time is saved when you have a system like that for filing and for storing things, and you have a convention to naming everything that you do. It truly prevents frustration in the future of digging through folders looking for that one document, that one image you swore was right there. Next thing you know, you're 30 minutes later and you still haven't found it. Wasted time. So much wasted time. And especially some people will then try to go recreate it and go make it again. You didn't need to do that if you had a system there in the first place. And that takes us to the third system that every practice and service provider should have as part of their operations and their marketing plans, which is a system for using templates and having templates to use for different things you might need them for. One of the biggest marketing time wasters people do is recreating things and creating things new. Anytime you have to create something new, it's going to take you a lot more time than if you had a template to start with. So I believe in having templates for all sorts of things. Social media image templates can be used and stored in Canva. Email templates for newsletters, caption templates even for your social media content, document templates for anything you need to create, canned response templates for emails you send over and over and over, call to action templates. We save these for myself and clients as well. And what I mean by that is we have a document for clients that includes all of their calls to action. So maybe they have a couple lead magnets, maybe they have a consult call, maybe they have a program. We save CTAs. So little, couple sentences, maybe a paragraph. We save these templates for CTAs in this document. So when we need to use one, I might just add in the process, use the CTA for booking a call. The VA knows to go and grab the CTA document and use that CTA from there. Having these templates everywhere is going to save you a ton of time. It will save you a lot more in the long run. It's going to take a little bit of time at first to create those templates up front and get the system in place. But those templates will live with you for a long time and save you tons of time as things move ahead in the future. Canva templates are 100% why I teach business owners how to follow my 5 minutes max rule for creating marketing images. I don't believe anybody should take more than 5 minutes to create your standard and regular images that you need to go with your marketing content. Templates keep you from going down that rabbit hole of trying to find the perfect image to use. And instead, you could have a template that kickstarts what you need and you can get it done so much faster. And even with AI, I'm sorry, but the AI in pictures just does not seem to work for me. And I have watched people spend tons of time trying to perfect and give instructions and get these images created. Just create a simple set of templates and you will spend so much less time on your marketing. I mean, really, think about it. How many times have you found yourself on Canva scrolling for that perfect image to add to that quote you have that you want to go with your marketing, only to kind of jump up when your head hits the desk because you've put yourself to sleep scrolling through hundreds of images? Now, I'm not saying that might have personally happened to me. It may have, but I know it happens a lot. People spend 30 minutes, hours even, trying to find a perfect image. Get some templates in place. They will save you time whenever and wherever you can use them. And one thing about templates that people don't think about is it actually takes away a lot of unnecessary decision fatigue, which can be very draining on you. Templates, use them all the time for everything you can. The fourth system that you need is a task batching system for your marketing content. When you batch your tasks together, this is the biggest game changer that you can make when it comes to doing your marketing. Instead of handling tasks in a random order and starting and stopping and starting again and reorientating yourself to stuff, you group those similar tasks together and do them in the same block of time. And this will help you take less time to do it all. It's exactly the principles behind the assembly lines that Olds and Ford created. And it is a key part of the Thrive marketing method I teach. And here's an example I'm going to give you one of how you can break down some of the tasks you would need to follow my MVP marketing plan. It's in episode 50 of my podcast, so be sure to listen to that one. But it's all about what to do if you only had 1 hour a week to do your marketing. And so the MVP marketing plan is all about what would you do with that 1 hour each week. So as a quick example of how this would work, when you're looking at creating marketing content, the way I teach people is you write an article, use it on your newsletter, use it on your blog, and pull pieces of it out to use on social media. So there's a few things that are involved in doing this, a few different kind of tasks. You need to create the content, the article. You need to create sometimes content to go on the images that are going to go with the articles in different places. You might need to create the images themselves and videos if you're going to do videos. Then you need to publish the blog, publish the newsletter, and schedule and publish the social media content that you create to go out there. So I like to batch tasks for marketing content like this, which is your consistent content you want to be doing on a regular basis to get the news out there, the blog and social media. So the first thing that you want to batch is writing and creating the content. So spend 1 hour or time in one spot to write the article, as well as the captions you'll use on social media and any phrases you want to use and pull out for images. You do all that creation of content in one block, because if you don't do it then, if you come back to it later and you want to create the social media captions or the phrases for social media, you often have to reread and rethink about what it was you wrote in the first place. So doing it all at once will save you time. The second batch of tasks you put together are creating the images and videos. So this is literally creating and putting the images together in Canva. Use those templates and take 5 minutes max, okay? And it's also recording the video that you want to use with your content if you're going to do video. So you do those in a block of time. The other block of time that you're going to batch your tasks out is for publishing the blog and the newsletter. This means getting the blog on your website and getting the newsletter scheduled in your email system. Neither one of these need any creation time for the content. It's straight production time because you already created the content in the first batch of tasks, which is writing and creating. So this is literally copy, paste, put in, format, schedule, test and then schedule, and then get it out there. The fourth tasks that you would batch together here is scheduling your social media content and putting it out there for whatever period of time your content is going to cover. This is a lot easier to do if you use some sort of scheduling tool for social media content to make this happen. This is how I teach my Thrive Marketing Academy members how to follow the whole method that we do of using the article, creating the images from the content, the blog, the newsletter, and the social media. So now we sit down in the end and we schedule the content. Typically, I recommend, if you want to stick to free stuff, is Facebook's Meta or Business Suite. That lets you schedule for Facebook and Instagram. And then to schedule for LinkedIn, if you want to have a free way to do it, I use a tool called Buffer, which has a free version, has a paid version, but typically the free version can be enough for you to schedule your LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is, unless you're a powerhouse user on LinkedIn, you're not going to have enough posts there that you would go over the free limit there. The other beauty about using Buffer is that you can actually schedule content for your LinkedIn company page, which is kind of cool. The scheduling is very much an assembly line process. And here's how I do it, teach people to do it, and have done it my entire career in business, because this is a key marketing support involved doing a lot of this scheduling. And it's assembly line 100%. So we sit down to do the marketing scheduling of the social media content. You basically open your scheduling tool, go to your content planner where you have the schedule that tells you what content you need, where it's going to go, what time, day, whatever. Then you go to the file folder wherever you saved your content you created, open that up, and now you're ready to go. You go into the content, you look at your schedule, think, okay, Facebook needs this kind of post at this kind of day and time. Go into the content you made, copy that content, paste it into your content scheduler, upload and add the image that you want to go with that, which you can find easy peasy because of your filing and naming convention systems that you've got set up. Then you set the time and hit schedule. Then you go back and do it all for the other pieces of content that needed to get scheduled for that week you're doing, or 2 weeks, month, whatever it is. Copy, paste, upload, set the time, schedule. And you continue to do this over and over for all the content you have in that cycle that you're scheduling it for. And honestly, it takes about 2 minutes to copy and paste and schedule prepped content like this. So most people can sit down and in about 30 to 45 minutes, get it all done for a couple of weeks, even a month, depending on what kind of scale you're doing with your marketing content. But by batching these 4 tasks, you reduce the time lost switching between tasks, having to reorientate yourself, read things again to create more content that you need to have when you could have been creating it in the first place. So by batching those 4 kinds of tasks together, you're going to save a ton of time. And this method is truly one of the most effective ways to eliminate wasted time and avoid unnecessary stress of last minute and random posting. And the 5th and final system you need to have is a system that is really a schedule. So you want to have set up a content schedule and some sort of workflow system for when and how you do your marketing. And so what I mean by this is a couple things. Number 1, you need to have a consistent content plan in place that tells you and has a schedule of when you're going to do and post and publish your content. So when you're going to create it, when you're going to publish it, when it's going to go out there online. That way you know exactly what you need to make, how much you need to make, where it's going to go. This part is really done typically by having a consistent content plan in place. And episode 76 of my podcast walks you through creating a consistent content plan. So I will link to that in the show notes. And make sure you go there and follow that one because it can be very helpful in getting this part set up. Then the other part of this is blocking time in your calendar to actually do this marketing. So you're having a content schedule in place, but you're also having a schedule in place and a system for when you're going to sit down and block time off to do the marketing, even if it's just 1 hour. If you don't schedule it, it won't get done. The main reason marketing gets dropped by people like a hot potato is because it's typically not booked into their weekly calendar. A great starting point for doing all of this, if you only had 1 hour a week, is what I cover in episode 50 of my podcast. So be sure to go back and listen to that one too. That info in there, combined with the consistent plan one in episode 76, and this one will help you get all of these 5 systems in place. And when you do that, I promise you're going to save time with your marketing and it's going to be more effective. At the end of the day, systems are your secret weapon for saving time with marketing. Whether it's saving and organizing content, batching tasks, creating structured schedules, workflows, all of these systems are small things that you can put in place that add up to huge time savings. And my entire goal for you with this is that you start spending less time on your marketing and more time working with clients or doing what you love, getting out of the office maybe and being with family and friends. It's not all about doing more work. Sometimes that time that you want to spend, you want to take out of your day where you're spending evenings and weekends doing all this marketing, plan for it, and then you can plan for spending time on the weekend doing what you would rather be doing than work. So your action step from today's lesson, go back and analyze your current marketing processes. Honestly look at it and ask yourself, where are you losing time? Are you losing time every day looking for files and items you need? Are you doing the random acts of marketing that I was talking about? Do you have a schedule in place? And are you following any schedule? Do you have any systems like what I talked about here today in place? What repetitive tasks do you do that you could actually streamline and put into some sort of assembly line type of system? And you may create a system that's not on my list of 5 here. But if you're creating something from this, I'm really happy about that because it means you're thinking about ways to streamline what you're doing. What I'd rather have happen here is that you just get the systems in place that are going to work for you so that you can be strategic with your marketing, plan your marketing, and get it done consistently, whatever consistently looks like for you. Now, honestly, I really hope that consistently is at least once a month because anything less than once a month is going to be a challenge for you to be effective. But if you can do an article, a newsletter, a blog, by the way, that's one article that you put on your blog and your newsletter once a month, that is going to be a really good start. I always would love to see people get up to at least twice a month, but once a month makes me happy as long as it's consistent. If you can do this, you will improve things with those systems in place. Start with just one even. Honestly, system 1 and 2, deciding where you're going to store things and having a filing and naming convention all set up is the easiest one to get going. And it's the one that's going to make the biggest impact today and in the future. So please promise me you'll think about putting some of these systems in place for your business. And if you're not sure where you're losing time and why you can't get your marketing done, let me help for free even. Book a free marketing review with me at pepperitmarketing.com/review. In 30 minutes, we'll identify those gaps together for your business if you can't see them yourself, especially, and we'll figure out what systems would be the best ones to make sure that you're not stuck on that hamster wheel of random marketing that's going nowhere. I don't want that for anyone. So be sure if you need a little help and outside perspective, you book that free review with me. I will put a link in the show notes wherever you're listening to this today to all of the episodes I was mentioning, anything that I talked about that you could use as a reference point. And I hope you will go in and use some of that and get a little more organized because I promise you, these are systems. They don't cost you anything but a little time to set them up and then practice following them, but they will help you grow and thrive in your business. And that's all I have for you today, folks. This is Kathy Colaiacovo. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I do appreciate your time listening to me. And I want to remind you, to thrive in practice or business means having systems in place that will help you work as smart as Henry Ford and Ransom Olds both did more than 100 years ago. I'll see you next time.
You can find all of our show notes and resources mentioned at marketingyourprivatepractice.com. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing and say hi. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and make sure to rate and review the podcast and hit subscribe on your favorite player so you don't miss any future episodes.